Hey friends, Leigh Brown here with One Community Real Estate, and it's time for supper. And tonight I'm making a kid request because my kids are very opinionated. I don't know about yours, but they don't get to pick what mama drinks, which tonight we're having a Leinenkugel summer Shandy, which is totally not in season yet when I'm making this video, but it feels like it should be because it was 80 degrees outside. And I always say, oh, I love that beer. So I always save back a summer Shandy for the first day that it feels like summer. Grapefruit Shandy though is even better, so yay, Leinenkugels. That's my favorite thing about Wisconsin, except for fried cheese curds. I don't know if y'all have had those, but they're ridiculous. So again, in honor of Michael Oppler, we're gonna start our oven at what? 350 degrees, because apparently almost every recipe ever invented is at 350 degrees. So tonight, because I told y'all we're making kid requests, tonight is Doritos Casserole. So if you are somebody that does not eat preservatives, this is probably not your recipe. If you're somebody that has kids in your house who like to whine and fuss and be picky about food, oh, this is your recipe. So what we've already got going over here is I got my pot boiling. We're gonna put in a bag of egg noodles. Frankly, you could use just about any pasta you want. I do that as a filler just to make the casserole go further because you don't really have to put it in there. The original version of this recipe that I found did not include it, and the kids ate it so fast I had to stick in some noodles just to stretch it. So anyway, I'm good at stretching because I'm cheap. So your egg noodle bag, what's that, like $1.99? I probably should not play the prices right because they always use retail instead of what normal prices are. But then we're also going to get us a pound of ground beef going. And finally, they didn't have that very expensive organic stuff this week. I got to use my regular ground chuck. And so as soon as that's going, well, I guess I could have cut it on. That might help. We're going to brown us a pound of ground beef. And actually, it's 1.5 pounds because that was the size they had this week. So that was $5 and a couple dollars over here. That's $7. And then 8, 9, 10, and 13. This will be about a $15 to $16 dinner. Actually, let's just say it's just up under $20, depending on what store you're at. Although some of my friends up north, apparently your grocery stores are higher than mine. So one of our prep items, while my pan isn't heating for the ground beef and I'm getting my stuff ready over there, that's a bag of Doritos. And if you had a day like the day I had, where there was encroachments on my client survey, a buyer walked off before closing because they're nervous. Another buyer crashed out because they're nervous. Frankly, they wouldn't be so nervous if they would eat at home and crush up some Doritos. And then we had some good news though. The good news is we had a clear to close on a loan. That means the bank said, yes, you can have some money. That's why you make Doritos casserole. And sometimes moms, dads, whoever's in charge of the cooking, you can actually delegate out some of the jobs from cooking, but you don't always delegate it because, frankly, some of the jobs are good, like crushing the Doritos. Now, you don't want to make them like all the way crumbly because they won't hold up in the pan. So we kind of halfway crush them. I mean, they're kind of like coffee, I guess. They smell better than they taste. And even if you're not a big Dorito fan, they're good in this casserole. So put you a layer in the bottom of your casserole dish. And I use a 9 by 13 because that's the right size. Got us a layer in the bottom. Got our water boiling over here. We did have a physics lesson over here in Florentine Homeschool about boiling and what is the difference between the little bubbles coming up and an actual rolling boil. And those of y'all that are not big cooks, you're going to have to learn the difference. Sometimes you're fooled by the little dots, and that's not going to do the job. So anyway, we have a pan here that's ready. So what we're going to do is get some Worcestershire sauce. I put it in the bottom of my pan because, frankly, it makes your ground beef better. And if you're using ground turkey, which is real lean, or ground pork, which is also pretty lean, more lean than ground chuck, that is, a little extra Worcestershire will give it enough in the pan to get it going good. And we're going to put in a little more on top of our 1.5 pounds of ground beef here and get that thing nice and cooked through. Now, I'm not fussing y'all about your ground beef like I do about your ground pork. If you like a little pink, that's fine with me, but I like my ground beef all the way cooked. Because I had tartare one time when I was in France, and I don't know that I'll ever eat beef tartare again because I think I knew what I was ordering, but I was also 20, and I remember not caring for it and have not eaten it since. So we're going to make our, look, I can't even talk tonight because I'm distracted, but it's all right. So I will tell you something that was interesting today. Here during the quarantine, I have been entertained by the behavior of some people. And for some of y'all, we just need to take away that little angry emoji face on Facebook Lives and Facebook videos. I think some of y'all have some anger management issues. I was watching a Facebook Live today with the leaders of the Realtors, the National Association. They probably had a lot more things to do with their time except spend an hour trying to give people information to help out. And while they were being super helpful, kind, and transparent, they had some nasty people dropping little unhappy, angry emojis in their video. All I can say is if you don't like something, cut it off. But if somebody's trying to be helpful, you could at least give them a thumbs up. Tell them thank you, and if you have additional things that you need, you could probably get them. But I will tell you that what I have learned in life is that you tend to get a lot more things from being nice than from being ugly. I mean, your grandmother told you you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. Although I know with vinegar right now, when I'm making this video, it is Holy Week, and we always think about vinegar in regards to dyeing eggs. And so y'all might have a happy thing about vinegar, and I clean my floors with it. Although I do tell you, when I mop, I just use a little bit of vinegar in my warm water, and I use a tiny bit of lemon essential oil so it'll smell better, and that's better than all those chemicals that have silicone in them that leave a coat of wax on the floors. I just don't care for how that looks. So those egg noodles cook lickety split. They'll be done here in a minute. Got my stuff here. Now what else we're going to add in as soon as the ground beef is going good? I'm going to put in a little bit of minced onion. Oh, that's garlic. And a little bit of minced onion. Again, it's McCormick just because that's what I have. Hey, one day somebody tell McCormick I should be sponsored by them. I'm pretty sure that they would sell more spices if they had more Leigh Brown in their life. So, amen. I'm going to put some garlic in. What's funny is Timmy saw me get the ingredients out, and he's like, Mama, that casserole doesn't have onions and garlic in it. I said, yes, baby, it does. You just did not know it because you didn't see me make it last time. But you do need the flavor because food is boring without flavors in it. And I could have used fresh onion, but I didn't feel like chopping one today. And I could have used fresh garlic, and I didn't have any in the house. So if you have some, you're welcome to add those into the recipe. It already smells good. One day we'll have smell-o-vision, and then I imagine cooking shows will finally take over for all the bad house shopping shows that you see on HGTV. And by the way, friends, if you're not in real estate, you might not know this, but buying a house is more than 30 minutes looking at three houses on television. And frankly, you kind of have to have more work done on your mortgage if you're the person who sells those painted toothpicks and somehow gets a loan for $2 million. I don't understand how they set those shows up, but they're not real life. And most of the cooking shows I don't think are real life because I've watched some of those people, and I don't know that they either have budget or they have nothing else to do with their time. I need suppers that come together fairly quickly. Now, y'all had said you want me to teach you how to make my pot pie. It's a little more time intensive and it involves about 11 steps, but I'll do it if y'all want. So anyway, we got some minced onion and some minced garlic, and I think I need more minced onion because I can't see it anymore. And I like to see my onions because that tells me I have enough. But I don't try to do it all too heavy. All right. That's going to be ready here in just a minute. Let's go ahead and cut the heat down on the egg noodles so they don't overcook and turn into mush. So after we get the ground beef cooked, we're going to add in 1 can of diced tomatoes. I would normally have store brand, but I sent Mr. Brown to the grocery store and I got back the name brand. So we are having Contadina tonight. And for the friend who told me to watch out for sugar inside the tomatoes, I know, I watch them. And I'm always buying things without sugar, but you know what? I didn't look to see if this brand has it, and I forgot to tell him the rules because he doesn't usually do the shopping. But, yep, this has sugar in it, so don't give him any ugly, angry faces in the emojis. But this time we'll have the snuck-in sugar just because I sent the husband to the grocery store. And if y'all have never seen that skit that Jeannie Robertson did about sending left brain to the grocery store, that's seriously one of the funniest things I've ever seen. So anyway, we're going to add in 1 can of tomatoes, And this can is a 14.5-ounce size, but you should know which one it is. They have a giant can that's 28 ounces. It's too much. And then we're going to add in a can of cream of chicken soup. If you have cream of celery, you can use that. If you've got cream of mushroom, you can use that. I mean, it's any of the cream of soups, which frankly are the cornerstone of most casseroles that I grew up with. And I'll make my regular ground beef casserole some of these nights here for y'all to look at. It's also cheap and pretty easy. But when you add in the Doritos, it adds a kid-friendly touch. So we'll add in those 2 cans. And then, let's see, what else are we going to put in there? Oh, taco seasoning. Well, do I have a taco? I forgot to look and see if I had one before I got started because I forgot about that particular flavor pack. I got some Hidden Valley Ranch. Maybe I'll use that. It's a pretty good seasoning thing. Got some onion soup mix, but I already put onions in. I've got 2 onion soup mixes. Let's see what we have up here. More Hidden Valley Ranch. Y'all can tell we like to cook with that around here. There's some marinades. How old is that marinade? I hadn't used that in a long time. Best Buy. Well, 2019, that's not old. I will tell y'all, I made some cupcakes the other day, and they came out like little tiny scones. And then I looked at the box cake mix, and this is why I prefer to make homemade cakes instead of using box mix. It expired in 2011, so I think I now know why they didn't rise. I need to clean this box out for serious. These are some old things in here. Shazam, there is some taco seasoning. High five for me being a food hoarder. Let's see when this expired. I know y'all are enjoying finding out how old the things are in my cupboard. Well, there's no date on it. I don't imagine it could go bad when I look at the things that are in here. This looks fairly natural from Solon, Ohio. I don't even know where Solon, Ohio is, but hey friends, you're making Ortega taco seasoning mix, or you were maybe a decade ago. So actually we'll add that in here as soon as I drain the grease off. Let me get my little strainer here out because you're going to take the grease off. And actually while that's finishing up, let's drain the egg noodles. This is what egg noodles look like. Oh, right, looks like pasta. Hey, I told y'all you could eat pretty much any pasta you want. And now my oven's ready. There you go, Michael. It's 350 degrees, just like you were noticing. And you know, now that I have watched, does it feel disconcerting for y'all to hear my voice off screen? Because it feels weird to me to be off screen talking to you. But I was watching my friend Michael Ockler on Instagram Live cook the other evening, and he made the commentary to Kofi Adasi, who's our other good friend, about me talking about everything cooking at 350 degrees, because it does. And you can change it to 375, I guess, but 350 is what works. This is a very commentary heavy recipe because apparently we just do a lot of standing around and looking, and then we're going to throw some things in the pot. So that meat's about done. We're going to add in the taco seasoning, which means it'll need a little bit of water. So how much we going to put in? I wonder what the package says to put in. 3/4 of a cup. That seems like too much. I'm not going to use that much. So let's use about a 1/2 cup. And you know, sometimes you have to be distrustful of things, whether it's the recipe or the packaging mix or the government. I mean, y'all are really needing to be careful about the loss of your civil liberties these days. Paying attention, pay attention, friends. Oh, that smells so good. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something that I do in my house that maybe you do in yours, and you should. Because sometimes you're going to one low of Crisco and lard. I keep an empty can up under my sink to keep the oil in, and this one in particular is the diced tomato can from the last time I cooked with tomatoes. I'm thinking my team is going to have to edit this video a little bit because I have wandered off camera a fair amount, and there's just not that much to do in this one. So I think I'm actually going to pause it for a second and come back after this not really commercial break, but I'll splice it back in. Hey, we're back from the not real break, but I had to break it up because I had to get the grease off the meat, put it in the old can. And you don't have to use an old tomato can like I did. I mean, you could use an old soup can, and that would be just fine. The key is the metal. And I know you're rolling your eyes at me now thinking, Leigh Brown, everybody knows that. I'm going to tell y'all something I have learned in my medium years of life. There's a lot of people that don't know things they had ought to know, so we really probably should not make assumptions about what people do and do not know. And can I get an amen and a hallelujah on that? So now we've got the seasoning mix in, my half a cup of water-ish, and now we're going to put in some salsa. I have chosen Texas Pete salsa because if you didn't know, Texas Pete is not only the best hot sauce, but it's real good salsa. And they're from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, so shout out to my friends in Winston-Salem, which if y'all are from another area of the country and you're thinking, why do I know Winston-Salem? That was the home of Big Tobacco, and that's a whole nother that's a different video I should make altogether, is the way Big Tobacco was treated. And some of y'all are probably thinking, oh, Leigh Brown, you can't defend smoking. Well, I will tell you that the way it was handled was poor, because that was the top crop in North Carolina, and there were a lot of farmers that got devastated by the way that went down. And then all that happened, y'all, the cigarette companies just started using imported tobacco. So if you were going to smoke, you once upon a time had North Carolina grown tobacco, and then you kept on smoking, but your tobacco came from overseas. But anyway, we're not going to argue about that now because I'm on one side of the video camera, y'all are elsewhere. All right, so we're going to add in, let's see what I want to add in next. I think I'll go on, it's bubbling a little bit. I was just thinking, toss in your tomatoes. You do not need to drain them unless you want to. I like a little moisture in mine just because the Doritos is going to soak some up. Put in your can of cream of whatever. This one's cream of chicken. I guess I should have gotten a spoon. And that is too big. Size matters. As I go back off screen again. I think I need like some professional cameras in my kitchen to follow me around, or have to hire a camera crew. Maybe there's some enterprising young person that wants to put together a production thing for me so they could use it as a portfolio in school. Hey, if y'all know some enterprising young person in Charlotte or Cabarrus County that wants to come over to my house and make videos of me making supper, they would probably have a big time in school. Cream of soups are one of those things y'all can eat straight out of a can. So anyway, let's stir that up a little bit. Get that cream of soup evened out because it's yummy. And now you've got something that looks really good. So what we're going to toss in next is some sour cream. And we got Trader Joe's brand today. Lucky Trader Joe's. You get to appear in my video. I will actually put in most of this. And I wouldn't normally use my dirty spoon, but we're going to use the rest of the leftover sour cream for toppings. I only had a half a container left because I love some sour cream. So that's going to lighten that up. Well, not really lighten it up, but the color lightens up a little bit, but definitely not the calories. If you haven't noticed, you might have figured out now why Leigh Brown is a runner, because apparently I don't cook anything healthy during the quarantine. I might make a healthy supper at some point. Now, I've got my Doritos in the dish. We're going to toss in, actually, let's just go ahead and mix the noodles in with the ground beef mixture just to make life easy for us. And then we're going to dump it into the pot with the Doritos. Did y'all need to see me do that? Probably not, but go ahead and cut off our stovetop here. And then I'm going to put the last of my crushed Doritos on the very top with some shredded cheese. And I already told y'all that I buy my cheese buy 2 get 3 free, so it's very cheap. And tonight we're going to use the Mexican blend because that's what I had in the fridge. Put that whole container on top with your Doritos, and then we're going to stick it in the oven at that 350. And you'll keep it in there until the cheese on the top is bubbling, because everything else is cooked, so it doesn't have to cook forever. You can cover it if you want to. I'll cover mine just to help it go a little faster with a little bit of tinfoil. And if you remember the trick from the other evening, before you put the tinfoil on top, make sure that you put a little bit of cooking spray on it so that it will come back out easily without taking your cheese with it. Oh, that smells and looks so good. All right, you're thinking, I don't know about that, Leigh Brown. I promise you it's good. Your family's gonna eat it. Your children won't fuss. they'll eat it, and they'll even eat the leftovers, because frankly, this is really good on day 2 after it's had a chance to soak into the Doritos. Oh, look at that, child. Okay, now let's put a few more of our Doritos on the top. My children are going to be actually tore up because they forget that after I use the Doritos for this casserole, they don't have any to snack on. But they can eat these things as fast as I can eat jelly beans and conversation hearts. And I will say, I ate the last of my conversation hearts just this week. So don't judge me, because I do have a sweet tooth, and I love some conversation hearts. As long as it's the Brock's ones. I don't really like the off-brand ones. I'm very particular about the brand of my conversation hearts, and the same thing with my jelly beans. All right, there you go, friends. Doesn't that look good, fun, not healthy, but tasty? Now, after you eat this, I highly recommend that you go outside and have a walk with your family up and down the block, around the block, to the edge of the yard, back and forth, and a few times, because you got to work it off. But you'll have had a fun family supper for not a lot of money. Everybody will be happy with you, and you got a gracious plenty of leftovers. In fact, I think this one probably feeds about 8 people, so I have to put that in my recipe. And make sure that you subscribe to this channel, because I know that you want to have some fun with me again and see inside my kitchen and inside my life. And I'll see you next time.